You did everything right. 4.0 GPA, perfect SAT, captain of 3 clubs, and then rejected. Not even waitlisted, just straight up tossed aside. And you're sitting there staring at the screen thinking, what the hell just happened? Here's the brutal truth. Being the valedictorian doesn't mean a straight ticket to Harvard or MIT. And that's exactly why this valedictorian got rejected. Because a perfect transcript, high test scores, leadership in school clubs, that's bare minimum for top schools. It's not that they didn't work hard. It's that their application just looked like thousands of other high-achieving students. And that's where most applicants go wrong. So today, I'm gonna break down exactly why this valedictorian got rejected, and more importantly, how you can avoid the same fate. Because the truth is, getting into a top college isn't about being perfect. It's about standing out. So let's get into it. Let's make one thing clear. Colleges do not want well-rounded students. They want a well-rounded class. You being good at everything doesn't help them because guess what? They have 50,000 other applicants who are also good at everything. And that's why so many valedictorians who crushed every single subject, played 3 instruments, and were active in their community still get rejected because they're forgettable. They look like everybody else out there that are high achieving. So this valedictorian, for example, their resume looks something like this. 4.0 GPA, 1550 plus SAT, president of NHS, captain of the debate team, and volunteered at a hospital. And the thing that an admissions officer sees when they look at this is not much, right? Because these titles might seem like they're very high achieving, they have a lot of impact, but really when you look deep into it for the extracurricular descriptions, what they write on their essays, it really doesn't amount to much. Of course, his GPA, SAT scores, and extracurriculars aren't bad, right? Of course it's not bad, but if that application looks just the same as everybody else at that same school, it isn't as convincing as you might think it is. Michael Jordan, for example, got cut from his high school varsity team not because he wasn't good, but because he wasn't special yet. So what did he do? Instead of spreading himself thin playing multiple sports, he locked in on basketball and became undeniably great. And that's what top colleges want. Not someone who's pretty good at everything, they want someone who owns their niche. So what's your thing? Are you the best in your state at robotics, a young entrepreneur with a real business, a musician who's performed at Carnegie Hall, for example? Like that's what makes you stand out, not just being another great student. And of course, having 4.0 GPA, 1550 plus SAT is the bare minimum, but on top of that, who are you really? Now, the second major reason why this valedictorian got rejected was they did a lot of activities, but none of them actually mattered. Like, yeah, sure, you were president of the science club, but what did you actually do? Because let me tell you something, colleges do not care about titles, they care about your impact. Just because you're a club president doesn't automatically mean you made a huge difference. Let's put it like this. If an admissions officer asks, what did you accomplish in this club? And your answer is, we meet every Tuesday, had some guest speakers, and did a little bit of fundraising, then congratulations because you just wasted your entire extracurricular section. Because that kind of leadership doesn't matter. Like, let me tell you about Elon Musk, for example. Because before Tesla and SpaceX and all the crazy stuff he's doing right now, which I don't even want to talk about, but he started an online payments company called X.com. It was a solid idea, but it didn't do anything groundbreaking. So instead of just running a generic business, he merged it with PayPal, built revolutionary security protocols, and changed the way we handle online transactions. That's impact. That's what people remember. Now back to this valedictorian. They had leadership roles, yes, but what did they actually change? Did they launch a statewide STEM initiative? Did they create a nonprofit that impacted thousands of students? Or did they just exist as the president, right? Because if your activities don't have real world impact, they don't mean that much. Having impressive extracurriculars isn't about having as many president titles on your EC list. That's something that you need to understand here. Now, the next thing is a 1600 SAT won't save a boring essay. A perfect GPA won't either. Essays make or break top applicants when there's so many factors going along. And this valedictorian, their essay was okay, but here's the thing, fine doesn't get you into Harvard. They wrote about working hard, staying disciplined, and learning leadership and all that stuff, right? That sounds really, really familiar, right? That's because 10,000 other applicants probably wrote the same exact thing, right? So what you need to understand is that the best essays are not about listing achievements. They're about showing who you really are. Because when an admissions officer reads your essay, they should feel like they know you as a person. And let's be real, if your essay could be copy pasted onto someone else's application, application and still makes sense, your essay just gets lost into the ether. The best essays that I've seen are deeply personal, so your story, not just a cliche lesson, right? They're unique and unexpected, not some I learned perseverance type of nonsense, right? And lastly, memorable, right? It sticks in their mind after reading thousands of other essays, because that's exactly what they're going to be doing, right? Reading through hundreds, if not thousands of essays. So if your essay doesn't make you stand out as a person, you're just another high achiever in a sea of high achievers. Because the 55,000 people applying to Harvard is not the same 55,000 people applying to a community college, right? The caliber of an applicant at Harvard or MIT, for example, is much higher. So how do you actually make yourself stand out? Obviously, this valedictorian did a lot of things right? GPA, SAT, a lot of good extracurriculars, but did not go deep enough, right? So the first thing is going deep, not wide, right? Instead of doing a million activities, pick one or two things and just go all in. Become the best at your niche, right? Second is creating real impact. I think this was the place that this valedictorian lacked the most, just because he had a lot of titles and a lot of extracurriculars that seemed really impressive, but once you dive in and see what his actual impact was, it wasn't much. Number three is to write an insane essay. Tell a story that only you can tell, not something that someone just can simply copy off you. And number four is to apply smart. Don't just apply to 20 Ivies with the same generic application, right? Just have some sort of strategy, and because they all have different institutional priorities. At the end of the day, like, it's really unfortunate, but the truth is that the best students don't always get accepted, right? The best applicants do. Success isn't about being perfect, right? It's about standing out, taking risks, and making real impact. Like, look at Walt Disney, for example. He was fired from his first job because his editor said he lacked imagination. Imagine telling that to the founder of Disney. And on top of that, imagine if he had just settled for a safe, regular career, right? And he didn't, and neither should you. So don't just work harder, work hard on the right thing. And if you want actual expert guidance from counselors with 20+ years of experience, including former Ivy League admissions officers, check out our program below. You don't need it, obviously, but if you want personalized strategy to maximize your odds, it's there for you. But your future is in your hands, so play it right. Now go make your next move. Peace.